In the late 1100s in the Holy Land, two people stood at the center of one of the most dramatic chapters in medieval history: Queen Sibylla of Jerusalem and Guy of Lusignan. Their love, their marriage, and their decisions shaped the destiny of a kingdom under constant threat. This is the story of a queen who fought to protect her crown, and a king whose actions helped lead to one of the greatest defeats the Crusader states had ever seen. It's a story of loyalty, pressure, war, and tragedy. This is Queen Sibylla and Guy. Sibylla was born around 1159 into the royal family of Jerusalem. The Crusader kingdom was young, fragile, and surrounded by powerful Muslim rulers. She grew up knowing that every decision made by her family could mean survival or destruction. Her father, King Amalric, was a respected ruler, and her younger brother, Baldwin IV, became famous as the Leper King. Because Baldwin was diagnosed with leprosy at a young age, many nobles feared he would not live long. This meant that Sibylla, his older sister, became extremely important. She was the future of the kingdom. From a young age, Sibylla understood the pressure. Her marriage would not just be a personal choice, it would determine the future of Jerusalem. Before Guy entered her life, Sibylla married William Longsword, a noble from Europe. He came to Jerusalem full of hope, ready to support the royal family. But only a few months after their wedding, he died suddenly. Sibylla was left a young widow and pregnant. She gave birth to a daughter, but William's death changed everything. Now Sibylla needed a second marriage, one that could strengthen the kingdom and protect her brother's throne. The search for a new husband began in Europe and in the Holy Land. Everyone had an opinion about who she should marry, because whoever married her could eventually become king of Jerusalem. It was during this search that Guy of Lusignan arrived. He was a French nobleman with charm, ambition, and a confident personality. Guy was not the most experienced leader, but he had a strong family name and connections in Europe. Sibylla met him, and according to many accounts, she fell deeply in love. Unlike her first marriage, which was arranged for politics, this one seemed to come from her heart. Her brother, King Baldwin IV, accepted the marriage at first. He hoped that Guy would support the kingdom and help manage the army. So, in 1180, Sibylla and Guy were married, becoming one of the most powerful couples in the Crusader states. But soon, their marriage became the center of political conflict. Not everyone trusted Guy. Some nobles believed he lacked discipline and military skill. Others thought he was too quick to make bold decisions. A few feared he wanted too much power and would act without thinking of the kingdom's safety. King Baldwin IV, Sibylla's brother, began to lose confidence in him. When Guy made several aggressive military moves without fully planning them, Baldwin felt Guy was risking the entire kingdom. By 1183, Baldwin decided to remove Guy from military command. He also changed the order of succession, declaring that Sibylla's son from her first marriage, not Guy, would inherit the throne after Baldwin died. This decision shocked many. It put Sibylla in a painful position. The man she loved had been rejected by her own family. Baldwin IV's illness grew worse. He appointed his nephew, Sibylla's young son, as co-king. But the boy was too young to rule alone. When Baldwin died in 1185, the child became King Baldwin IV, with a council of nobles guiding him. Sadly, the boy did not live long. He died the very next year. This unexpected tragedy opened a power struggle. Two names rose to the top: Sibylla and her half-sister, Princess Isabella. Both had claims to the throne. The nobles preferred Isabella. The people loved Sibylla. And behind Sibylla stood Guy. What came next changed the entire history of the kingdom. The nobles tried to push Sibylla aside, offering her the crown if she divorced Guy. They thought Guy was too unpopular. But Sibylla surprised everyone. She agreed to their offer on one condition: she would choose her next husband freely. The nobles accepted, believing she would pick someone else. Instead, Sibylla chose Guy again, and publicly crowned him king of Jerusalem beside her. It was one of the boldest acts of loyalty in medieval history. Even her political enemies admitted that no queen had ever shown such devotion to her partner. While the kingdom argued about royalty, a powerful leader was rising in the Muslim world. Salah ad-Din, known in the West as Saladin. Saladin had united Egypt and Syria. He was smart, patient, and respected by both allies and enemies. He watched the political chaos in Jerusalem carefully. When he saw that Guy was king, a man who lacked strong leadership experience, Saladin realized this was his chance. Tensions between the two sides grew quickly. Both armies prepared for war. The stage was set for the most famous battle of the Crusades. In 1187, Saladin's army moved across the land, attacking towns and forts. Guy felt pressure to act. Many knights demanded he face Saladin directly to show his strength as king. Guy gathered his forces and began marching toward the Sea of Galilee. But the heat was brutal, and Saladin's army blocked access to water. On the hill called Hattin, the Crusader army became trapped. Thirst, exhaustion, and fire arrows tore through their ranks. Saladin's forces surrounded them completely. By the end of the battle, the Crusader army was destroyed. It was one of the worst defeats in the kingdom's history. Guy himself was taken prisoner. And with the army gone, Jerusalem was defenseless. While Guy sat in captivity, Saladin marched toward Jerusalem. Inside the city, Queen Sibylla prepared for the worst. She tried to organize defenses, comfort the people, and negotiate for time. But Saladin's forces were overwhelming. After a brief siege, the city surrendered peacefully. There were no mass killings, no burning, no destruction. Saladin allowed people to ransom themselves and leave safely. For Sibylla, losing Jerusalem was heartbreaking. Her city, her home, and her inheritance were gone. Still, she did not give up. After a year in captivity, Saladin released Guy. Many thought he would never again lead an army. But Sibylla remained loyal. She met him with courage and encouraged him to continue fighting. Together, they joined the remaining Crusader forces at the coastal city of Tyre, one of the last Christian strongholds. Tyre's commander, Conrad of Montferrat, refused to let Guy enter. He did not trust him and believed Guy's leadership caused earlier disasters. With nowhere else to go, Guy led an army to Acre, a major port city held by Muslim forces. He began a long siege that lasted years and attracted warriors from Europe, launching the Third Crusade. In 1190, during the Siege of Acre, tragedy hit Sibylla directly. She became sick, likely due to disease spreading in the military camp. Her two young daughters also fell ill. Sibylla died suddenly, followed shortly by her children. Her death shocked the entire kingdom. She had fought for her crown, protected Guy, and lived through unimaginable pressure. Now, the woman who had held the kingdom together was gone. With her death, Guy lost his right to remain king. His claim to the throne existed only through her. Even though he no longer had a royal claim, Guy refused to leave the battlefield. He continued leading troops until Acre finally fell to the Crusaders. After the victory, the new leader of the crusade, Richard the Lionheart, gave Guy the lordship of Cyprus. There, Guy spent his final years ruling a smaller kingdom, far from Jerusalem. He died around 1194, remembered as a man whose ambition shaped the fate of the Holy Land, for better or worse. Although Sibylla's reign was short, her legacy is powerful. She is remembered as a queen who fought to protect her family, a woman who chose love over politics, a leader who stood firm during invasion and crisis, a symbol of loyalty in a time of betrayal. Historically, opinions about her vary. Some say she made mistakes by supporting Guy. Others say she was trapped between political forces she could not control. But almost all historians agree that Sibylla showed bravery, dignity, and deep devotion to her people. Sibylla and Guy's story is not simply about war and politics. It is about human choices, love, loyalty, pressure, and fear. Sibylla married for her heart, but ended up fighting for her kingdom. Guy wanted power, but found himself facing a master strategist like Saladin. Their lives intertwined with the fate of the Crusader states. In the end, Sibylla's courage and Guy's ambition both shaped history in ways neither could fully control. Narrator. The story of Queen Sibylla and Guy of Lusignan is a reminder that even in times of conflict, human emotions, love, loyalty, pride, and fear can change the destiny of nations. They lived in a world where every decision carried the weight of an entire kingdom. Their choices led to great triumph, deep losses, and unforgettable chapters in medieval history. Though centuries have passed, their story continues to echo through the ruins of Jerusalem, the hills of Hattin, and the ancient walls of Acre. This was Queen Sibylla and Guy, a story of love, power, downfall, and courage.